Hello, welcome to It's All Primer in the Classroom. My name is Lorianne. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to get your curriculum and unit plans going. If you are a brand new teacher, congratulations. Teaching can be a very overwhelming career, and my hope is that I can give you some teacher tips to at least make your first year or your 10th year more seamless and more enjoyable. There's a lot that is requested of us, and the biggest thing that I can say to you is get some systems in place. This is going to be part of a 4 or 5 videos, and I'm going to be using my Teacher Toolkit that'll be available on TPT. The link will be down below. When I first started teaching in my teacher preparation year, we did a lot of, we did unit plans and we did lesson plans. We didn't have to do a lot, but we did some, enough to get an idea of how the process, right? What I didn't learn, and I wish I had something like this, was the overall picture. And even when I went in for my practicum, we were still doing bits and pieces of things. And when I finally got that first grade 1 job, I was exhausted all the time because suddenly I'm like, I need to have a year plan. I need to have do I need pacing guides? Do I need a curriculum map? So like, what do I need, right? There was so much that was required of me that had I known ahead of time what to do, I could have done some of it before school started. So when it comes to planning, start big and work small. Okay, so what do I mean by that? I'm suggesting that you start with a year plan. For many of you who are watching, you will probably be a general classroom teacher. So kindergarten to grades, where I live, it's kindergarten to grade 7 is general classroom. When you are in 8 to 12, then you are dealing with specific subjects, whether that be humanities, language arts, math, science, PE, right? So for most of this talk, I'm going to share as if you are going to be a general classroom teacher. The best thing you can do right now before you get into the classroom is not thinking about how all the stuff that you're going to buy for your room. It's really about the curriculum. You don't have to plan. For most schools, they will ask you at the beginning of the year for a unit plan, possibly some pacing guides, and or a curriculum map. Okay, and I'll discuss the differences in a minute. Before we start, what I need you to decide is, where are you going to store everything? Are you going to store your stuff online, right, on your computer? Or are you going to put things, print them all out, such as in binders? I have in front of me this one, which is a fairly new one, and then I have my different lesson plans and year plans over the years. I've kept them, right? So when I open this up, I've got a year overview from 2022. I've got a year overview from 2018, 2024. I keep old ones. And why do I do that? Because it makes the current year, providing I'm teaching the same grade, much easier. And these are created online. And I do have a unit plan template at a very low price on my TPT store, linked down below. My principal often asks me for a hard copy. Now, one of the things that I do is I create on 8.5 by 11. But then what I do is I print it off in 11 by 17. So a year at a glance is basically taking your months across and deciding what are you going to do month by month. And then down the side here is your subjects. Okay, it is simple as that. But that means you're going to have to open up your curriculum for your state, province, territory, country, county, and look through it. And if you are particularly in the lower grades, primary, start with literacy and numeracy, language arts and math. Those are the two most important ones, and they will take over half of your day, just those two subjects. At the time of watching this video, if you are starting next week and you only got a few hours this week to get going, my recommendation is literacy and numeracy for you. Getting them to read, getting them to be able to think mathematically and do the different math concepts is of the highest importance academically, okay? So in my toolkit, I have, I print out, I don't actually print out the whole thing because it's over 120 pages, but I always print out my table of contents so I can quickly look, okay, what page is it? And then I go online and then print it. In it, I have information about planning, okay? Ideally, you want to plan, you want to batch your planning. So as I said, you might want to just focus a couple hours just on literacy and determine what units and concepts that you want to teach for each month. If your principal asks for a curriculum map and a pacing guide, they are not the same thing, though, and this one's just a draft of it. It can look as simple as this, okay? So this one I have a template that says curriculum map and the year and then the months. It is editable, so you can change the months around if your starting month is July or your starting month is August or January, okay? What a curriculum map is basically what the concepts, the skills, and the standards being taught for each month. So for my school district, we start in September. So if I go back to even the year overview, it starts in September. These are my themes. I have my themes up here, and then with each subject, I have, for example, math, number sense 0 to 20, math rotations, or learning order, right? Patterns, things like that. So you're putting in the unit and the learning outcomes. Whether you may follow Common Core, you may follow state, province, county, country, learning outcomes, and have them open up. Have them open and take one of those templates and just start writing things in. So the simple difference between a curriculum map and a pacing guide, I happen to have them on the same page. Your admin may want them different. They may only want one of them. But a pacing guide focuses on the when. When are you teaching patterns? When are you teaching grammar, how the 3 types of sentences? When are you doing these things? When are you teaching matter? When are you teaching communities? These are all kind of grade 1, grade 2 units. When is it happening? And what's important about a pacing guide is that you can see how much time you need for things, and are you going to be able to fit everything in? Because what ends up happening sometimes is our students may need more time for something, such as, say, numbers to 100 or 120. Then you got to adjust things. On my desk, and I will show a video later on when I'm back in the classroom, I have this file system, and I keep these. So these ones are these are the different documents that have been needed for my admin. So I keep copies in this particular binder. It goes into this little file organizer so that it's always there. And if I feel like my students are needing more time with a particular concept, I quickly look at the pacing guide to see, okay, I'm going to start falling behind in this. Where can I make up time to get this thing also covered? Okay, so it's really important as a teacher that we have one eye on our class and what's happening right now, but we have an eye that way going, okay, I've got to get them, I'm progressing them towards the goal of finishing, right? what I like about templates when you start is it's like a brain dump for yourself. These are all the things I got to do, and I write them all out, or I scribble them out, or maybe you have good notes or something and you can just scribble notes out and get something down. But it prepares your mind and it prepares you for what you're going to need to teach. When I started looking at all the subjects that I had to teach, I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can do all this. And so one of the things I started doing is figuring out integrating subjects and what can I double up on, and what is going to need more time. And these are things you learn based on experience as a teacher. You do not need to be perfect. Your lesson plans don't need to be perfect your first couple of years, but you've got to be willing and flexible to make adjustments. And that's why I like paper. That's just me. Once you've got your year plan kind of mapped out, again, you might wait until you have an opportunity to meet with your teacher team. One of the practices I do is I actually do my year plan at the end of the year. And I'm trying out a new template just to see if this one's going to work. These ones work fine, to be honest, because I've got the learning outcomes in here. I've got the competency skills that you need to learn. It's all in these things. But I'm playing with a smaller document just to see. Once you have your year plan, okay, and again, it may be the title of it may be different depending on where you are. Could be a year at a glance, a year overview. It might just be your admin might just say, I want curriculum maps and a pacing guide for each subject, right? It can look different. Once you have that, then you're going to need to determine how you're going to do your week by week, day by day stuff. And that's going to be the next video. So what we're going to do next time is talk about planners, not the big coil bound ones you can buy and order online. We're just talking about just planning a weekly template or a daily template, depending on what you prefer. We're going to look at some different ones and then go from there. But a good piece of homework for you is to get a year plan drafted, okay? Not solidified, just drafted. You will feel a lot better going into your school when you eventually get in there. And because what ends up happening is many new teachers, they just go in and think about the setup. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And that's actually should be down the road. Okay, if you can map out your curriculum, your units, maybe themes for the month, possible field trips, ideas. It's just a brain dump. Get them out. Then when you are setting up your classroom, that kind of thing is off your back a bit. Because I know many teachers are stressed when they're setting up their classrooms because they know they should be working on the curriculum. Okay. If you would like to see more of these templates, I will have a link down below. And let me just say that this resource is what I call a work in progress, because many of these templates I have used over the years. Some have worked for a season and then I switch off to something else. I'm always looking for that best template for that year. So I hope wherever you are, you're having a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video. See ya.